Hey, so I got some questions about the accusative assignment in an email, and I thought I'd just go ahead and make a quick video if I could to maybe help anybody else who might have some similar questions. The first one, dealing with the accusative case lesson 4, the question was on number 4, and that is the correct answer that I provided for this here to loipon was accusative of manner. And the question is, how can it be manner? They don't rejoice in a finally way. So the translation is, finally, my brothers, rejoice in the Lord. And this student thought that time was a better option, accusative of measure and time. And so I'll first of all explain why I went with adverbial accusative of manner. And that's because really the lexical nature of the term taloipon as an adjective that's functioning adverbially to modify the verb kairete. And so if you look at the adverbial accusative of manner, you see the accusative substantive functions semantically like an adverb. And when you translate it, that's exactly how it comes across. Finally, rejoice. There's an adverbial qualification here, and it acts like an adverb. And so even if manner, if thinking about it in terms of manner confuses you a little bit, there's another way to sort of approach it, and that is to think about the term itself. It is an adjective, taloipon, that regularly functions as an adverb. So that's kind of the clue. So if we take a look at the amplification and caution of this particular function, there are two distinct kinds of adverbial accusative: nominal and adjectival. For example, the noun Dorian is frequently used for an adverbial accusative, but few other nouns are so used. There's a much larger number of adjectives that are used adverbially. So I think that this is one of those examples. Now, why doesn't it fit with adverbial accusative of measure? And as this student mentioned, time. Well, if we look at the key to identification, for this one, supply before the accusative for the duration of. And so if we say rejoice for the duration of finally, that doesn't really fit as well. So I do think adverbial accusative, if you want to be that general, or accusative of manner, is the best option in this example. The next one involves is number 8, and that is peritome, Philippians 3:5, circumcised on the 8th day, ta emeros. And of course this threw you a little bit because you have a dative noun thrown into the accusative assignment, and I know that's a little bit tricky, but this is will help us think not just in terms of assignment, but in terms of what is the word that I'm actually looking at. And the first question had to do with the ending, and that is the student wasn't too sure that this would be accusative, but you see that iota subscript there tells us that that is it's a dative noun in this case. And so this one's actually a little bit tricky overall because there's no stated verb here. So if we go back to the context, chapter 3, verse 4, and if we translate it as this here is a concessive participle, although I myself have or might have confidence even in the flesh, if anyone has confidence, or if anyone else has confidence, thinks that he has confidence in the flesh, I have more. Circumcised on the 8th day. Well, this is kind of vague the way he states this, because he doesn't provide a verb with circumcised on the 8th day. But if we did, we could say something like, I have more confidence because my confidence comes from being circumcised on the 8th day. And so, and the reason why I would translate this, or I would classify this as means, is because his confidence comes by means of, or with reference to, his having been circumcised on the 8th day. So the word related to, it's very vague, but maybe the implied verbal idea of my confidence comes by means of circumcision on the 8th day. So my confidence comes from that. There's your verbal idea, or very loosely related to the adjective here on the 8th day. Or the noun here, I'm sorry, on the 8th day. So dative of means. The last one is number 15, and that is from Philippians 3:8, and specifically this panta here, case usage, and word related to. But rather, I even consider all things to be loss. So we have two accusatives. We've got the panta and the zamian. And the question was, is this a double accusative? Because panta is actually translated into English as two words, all things. The English translation is really not the point, or is not really that helpful for us reading back into it, the Greek grammar. What we want to do is just work with the Greek grammar itself. And so in this situation, panta is a substantival adjective, all things. I consider all things. So I consider an object, all things. And this object has a complement, zamian. I consider all things loss. So the first best answer, I think, for panta here is accusative object and an object complement construction, a double accusative. It's double accusative because we have two substantives and an accusative that relate to one another. So the first, probably the best option is object and object complement double accusative. But you could also interpret this all things, substantival adjective and the accusative, as the subject, as the subject of the verbal infinitive here, anai. So the subject of the infinitive. Either one of these, or actually both of these, are correct. So panta is functioning in two capacities, both as the object and an double accusative object complement, and panta is also functioning as the subject of the infinitive anai.